The regular meeting of the board, April 11th, 2013. Jennifer, if you could call the roll, please.
Sure. For the State Treasurer, Mr. Boykin. Ms. Hendricks. Here. Mr. Rosensteel.
Here.
And for the State Controller, Mr. McGuire. Here. Chairperson Dillon, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The first action item is the approval of our board agenda and the work plan. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Any abstentions? We have approved our board agenda and work plan. Jack, I guess I turn it right over to you.
You do. This is my small moment of real power.
Woohoo!
On an annual basis, per policy, we conduct the officer elections for CalSTRS board for chair and vice chair. So we'll start with nominations for the chair. Do I see any nominations? So we have a nomination from Sharon Hendricks for Dana Dillon. Do I have a second to that? A second by Michael Lawson. Do we have any other nominations for chair to consider today? Seeing none, could I see a motion to close nominations? So moved by Paul Rosensteel, and there's no second needed for that. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Oppose? You are unanimously reelected. Yes. Woo.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Tina.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank
and well deserved. Do we have nominations now open for vice chair of the board? Could I see an?
I'd like to nominate Harry, please.
Okay, we have a nomination from Dana Dillon for Harry Keeley as vice chair.
An abstention.
And Mr. Keeley is out today due to an illness, so.
Well, he doesn't have the opportunity to turn it down.
Do we have a second for that motion? We have a second from Sharon Hendricks. Any other motions for election? Seeing none, we have a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
So moved by Dana Dillon. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? None. If you're watching on the internet, Harry, you are the vice chair once again.
I'll let him know forthwith. Jack, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Our second item up is our board meeting calendar, our third item, I guess I should say. So Jack, you want to walk us through the calendar?
We've really just followed the same patterns as before, so there's nothing unique about the calendar. It's always a navigation scheme between holidays and religious holidays and CalPERS board meetings out of respect for our two overlapping board members. So Mary's tried to reflect that in the calendar, and it noted just the couple educational events that some of you tend to repeat at. So we sent that out for feedback. I didn't get any notes other than one. Unfortunately, it's that 1 month that was the most difficult to navigate. Hopefully that can work for you. But that's what we've got to present to you.
All right, Sharon?
I was just going to ask about September.
Okay.
Do we typically, I thought we typically have our board meetings Wednesday through Friday, and
We
I'm
do.
just
All
wondering.
these were moved for somebody's conflict or.
Just because of the different hats I wear, it's like so that I can try and make it work, but I just wondered why. I thought we were trying to be consistent with the
We are
Wednesday
unless
through
I
Friday.
first do
there's
a cut
a
with the chair and the vice
significant-
chair, and then I look for religious moments, and then I look for educational events. So it's kind of a pecking order, but something conflicted with that. Does anyone remember who?
I'm trying to go to
Might
my
have
calendar
flagged
in
that-
case it
Yeah,
was
mine
me.
was just-
There is a reason, or we wouldn't have
Okay.
done it.
I can make it work. It's always a challenging month because it's the beginning of school for us, so that's always a challenge for.
It must have been someone else, because I don't
It's
think
not
it's
you.
on mine. I don't know, I can't remember.
All right. Well, I will make it work as long as, I guess I'll make it work as long as the effort is to be Wednesday through Friday consistently, and
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
make it
Want
work.
to keep on a cycle. Unless there's something that's so significant to some of you.
It very well could have been me, I just don't have anything in my phone
I'll
right
make it
now.
work for this year.
All right, thank you. Ready? Anyone else? Alrighty, that is also an action item. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If things if things turn out differently, we might be able to know as early as June. If that date changes, and we can maybe play with it then. Alrighty. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The calendar has been approved. Our next item is the request for serving on committees. You have, we don't have hard copies of that. Could we get could we?
You know, the election form. Of the election form?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have it brought out, yeah.
Alrighty, so we can provide that.
Yeah.
And you can give me your preferences of what committees you would like to sit on, and also your preferences as to chair, vice chair, and any other input that you would like to give.
Can I
Maria.
flag one committee for you, just
Sure.
while we're all sitting together, and it's a little easier? You know, we used to have a larger appeals committee when you had 12 members on the board.
I was gonna go there after.
Well, just, you know, and when we were missing board and we're down to 9, and then it became hard to make it a large committee, so we kind of always lived with this 3-person committee now for some time, given that you've got 3 vacancies. But I guess I just entertain, if anyone on the board does have a little bit more interest in that, right now, if one of the 3 has a conflict, it makes it pretty tough that we don't have a backup person. Is my perception, Dana, is that your concern there? So even if one of you might say you don't want to do it full-time, but you can be considered being an alternate, that might help the committee's operation. Dana, is that,
I would say so.
yeah, just, it'd be
We
a little
tried to rope
smooth.
Michael in yesterday, but
Yeah,
he came and sat in for a while.
Yeah.
Which committee was that?
The
Appeals.
appeals committee, I guess, maybe the right way is if you're comfortable labeling that as an alternate, so the person doesn't feel they're jumping into a full-time assignment.
I mean, we do have that scheduled often at the same times as audit and risk management.
We do.
So,
We kept them
so
mutually
if we start adding more to
I'm with you.
one, then we,
Yep,
you know,
lose
we
the
have a,
ability.
with,
gonna play Red
with,
Rover
with a
with
total
your
of 9
committee.
people and 2
Absolutely.
committees at the
That's
same
hard.
time, we're gonna have
And
that
we want to
challenge.
keep some ability to overlap, or else
Right.
it just keeps the efficiency of the whole thing down. So thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, we definitely want the audits
Not
committee.
too many people should have volunteered.
I don't know. They're close. There'd probably be one person,
then you would lose
but possibly is there other appointments that we can still fix this? But it is a sore point a little bit in your committee schedule. Just, it's a,
Alrighty. I'll turn this over to you and Krista. Where's
this is
Krista?
the fun part. Chris is going to come up and
There she is.
just have a nice moment of reflection.
I've been waiting for this. This is cool.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm Krista Noonan, the Director of Communications, and I'd like to take a few minutes to present. As you know, 2013 is CalSTRS' 100-year anniversary, so we have several events scheduled and special commemorative items scheduled throughout the year, and I'd like to share those with you. So one piece that I mentioned previously in the February meeting is that we redesigned the CalSTRS.com website and launched that at the end of January of this year. As Ed mentioned in the Benefits and Services Committee, excuse me, we're also doing a mobile version of the site, which is scheduled to launch in early May. So it's really, really neat. I can't wait for it to launch. Some other pieces that we're doing feature articles in various publications throughout the year. What I'm going to show you in just a few minutes is a video history, but we're also doing, don't forget, we solicited members and the general public, as well as all the board and our staff, to submit videos on their favorite teacher moments. And we actually just posted 7 more videos today. So they're great, but I would encourage you to go to the website and look at the videos and really hear the personal stories that are coming from people. And my staff is producing them, but we also are open to people submitting their own videos, and then we can get them posted to the website. And yeah, Sharon?
There we go. On the mobile version of the website, are people going to be able to easily like make an appointment with a counselor? I mean, are those kinds of tasks readily available on the phone version or the, I don't know what it's called, the mobile version?
It'll direct them to the phone number where they can call Client Outreach and Guidance to schedule an appointment. We haven't received that level of technical depth quite yet in order to actually schedule an appointment online. I believe on the primary website, I think you may be able to do that, but on a handheld device, it may be a little bit more difficult. But the phone number will be all linked, and everything will be able to patch right through. Similarly to, I have an iPhone, so if I go to a website and if I click on the phone number, the iPhone then asks me, do you want to call it? So it'll be that same way. You won't have to enter the phone number again. Yeah. Same thing with addresses. If you click on the address, it'll ask you, do you want to launch this in whatever map application that you use? So then it can give you driving directions to get there. The last thing that we're doing is we're actually having 3 invite-only receptions throughout the state. One will be here at headquarters in June. We have another in Glendale in September, and then Santa Clara in October. And those receptions are honoring our centenarian members who are 100 years or older, and also the members who have 50-plus years of service credit. So we're really excited about those. We have a lot of really nice things planned. So what I would like to do at this point is show you, yes, Dina?
Let us know what those dates are, so how we can work those into our schedules, it would be fun to coincide.
Definitely. I believe Mary Miles is already working on that for you. So yeah, I will definitely.
But the first one's on board day.
Yes. So we've coincided. The very first one is actually with the very first day of the June board meeting. So you'll be here, and we've made that available for you. So on the video, it is a little bit longer. It's about 14 and a half minutes, but I promise you're going to love it. I do have to, I want to extend great kudos to my team for what they've done on this video. It truly was a team effort. Pretty much about, I'd say 95% of the video was produced internally. We did have a little bit of external contractor help with some of the writing and the research, but I'd say 95% of it was produced and created internally. So it was Dave Geberding and Clarissa Resultan. They're our video team, and they're never down in this room because they're always upstairs actually airing the board meeting, but I do want to give them kudos. As well as when you hear the voice on the video, it is Mike Cecilia, who is our media relations manager. When you see the handwriting on the video, that's actually my assistant's handwriting, Linda Hightower. So thankfully we didn't use Ed Derman's handwriting because everybody would have, yeah. So and then we had Chad Christman and Kathy Halstead both helped on the script as well as myself. So like I said, it was truly a group effort, and everyone had a really, really fun time producing it. So are there any other questions before we start the video? Yeah, Michael?
The question was, how many 100-year-old members do we have?
Oh, all in all,
Changes on a daily basis.
it does. It does. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Peggy, I think throughout the state, I think it was a little over 300 total throughout the state. For the June meeting or the event, I believe there were a little over 70 that were invited. What we've done is when we determined the invite mailing list, we had to divide them based on regional restrictions, if you will. So for this particular event, we went Fresno North. For the Bay Area, obviously, we took all the Bay Area counties, and then for Los Angeles, we went Fresno South. And we have invited, we've taken into account that a lot of 100-year-old members probably aren't going to drive here themselves, so we've enabled them to bring a caretaker if they'd like, or an escort with them, and we'll take care of their parking, and everything will be seamless for them to come in.
One of the things that I get to do as chair is I sign letters on their 100th birthday. And quite frequently, there's 30 letters in the folder, and I do that every board meeting. So it's pretty cool. And we get letters back, which is really cool too, so. Yeah, it's
and
pretty,
it's over 100 a year of those letters that you do.
it's pretty neat.
Great. Any other questions before we start? No? Okay, so John Salau is going to hit play and keep our fingers crossed.
California, home to the largest state population in the country and the 9th largest economy in the world, with an enormous diversity of resources, cultures, and opportunities. California has also been a leader in education with early high school development and an extensive network of colleges and universities. In 1913, CalSTRS was founded with 120 retired members and 15,000 active members. 100 years later, CalSTRS has grown to represent secure retirement futures, providing retirement, disability, and survivor benefits for 862,000 educators and their families. Over the past 100 years, CalSTRS has not just kept pace with California's evolving history, we've been an important part of that history. The year 1913 marked the completion of the world's largest aqueduct, supplying water to millions and enabling explosive growth within the Southern California region. On July 1st, 1913, the state of California first established the Public School Teachers Retirement Salary Fund, later known as CalSTRS.
And this fund was created in order really to offer a little bit of incentive and long-term job security, really, for people to go into the teaching profession. Initially, teachers contributed $12 a year to the fund, and the state of California provided 5% of the inheritance tax revenues to the fund. And that's the entire way that CalSTRS was funded for decades, really.
The leadership at CalSTRS understood at the outset that the key to success would be the organization's ability to adapt and meet the needs of an ever-changing teacher population. The 1930s brought tremendous change to California that enabled it to open up to the country and the world. The Bay and Golden Gate bridges opened within a year of each other, providing much-needed gateways to Northern California. Route 66 from America's heartland delivered 10,000 new settlers to California each month.
The CalSTRS system was a very stable system in terms of both contributions and the benefits, really for decades. In 1935, this began to change when teachers were required to increase their contribution level from $12 to $24 per year. School districts, for the first time, began contributing, and initially they contributed only $12 a year per member. And the benefit levels went up 20%, but that was about from $500 a year to $600 a year for teachers. So very modest increase in contribution and a modest benefit increase as well.
In the 1940s, California drove innovation relating to transportation, business, science, and governance. California's first freeway, the Arroyo Seco Parkway, opened in Los Angeles. In 1944, the first of several major innovations were made to CalSTRS' plan to enhance member benefits. Disability benefits were improved, and all retirees with 30 years of credited service were guaranteed a minimum retirement benefit of $60 per month. Age 63 was established as the normal retirement age, with specified reductions for early retirement beginning at age 58. Vesting was reduced from 30 years to 10 years of service. During this same period, the Public School Teachers Retirement Salary Fund also underwent a name change to become the State Teachers Retirement System. In the 1950s, California experienced an economic boom that produced greater prosperity, increased support for school funding, and an expansion of leisure opportunities. California also introduced a sales tax designated specifically for education. Disneyland televised its grand opening. Sports fans witnessed the first Major League Baseball game on the West Coast, and the minimum wage was put into effect at $1 an hour. Throughout the 1950s, CalSTRS also launched a major expansion of benefits to better serve its membership. The normal retirement age was lowered from 63 to 60, and the early retirement age from 58 to 55. The first death benefit program was established. In 1953, the minimum retirement benefit was raised from $60 to $170 per month. Beginning in 1956, benefits were calculated based on a fixed percentage of final compensation for each year of credited service, tying benefits to changing economic conditions rather than fixed dollar values. In 1958, vesting was reduced from 10 years to its present 5-year minimum. In 1959, the first survivor benefit was established. While the 1960s brought no meaningful change to CalSTRS, the 1970s in California was a decade of significant transition. Like much of the country, California experienced multiple challenges, including increases in population, pollution, unemployment, and inflation. Apple, based in the Bay Area, successfully marketed the world's first personal computer. A Paris wine tasting judged California wines to be superior to French wines, significantly boosting Napa Valley's status. Proposition 13, a landmark measure, changed the way government captures and allocates tax dollars. In the 1970s, CalSTRS experienced significant change and improvement to the way contributions were set and how it manages its investments. In 1972, the individual member contribution rate was changed from a variable rate averaging 7.4% of an educator's salary to a flat 8%. The employer contribution rate was also increased from 2% of a member's salary to a matching 8%.
Literally for decades, CalSTRS was invested in what are called fixed income investments. So there was really a modest revenue stream into the fund based on those investments. When Proposition 6 passed, it allowed CalSTRS to begin investing the fund literally in the stock market and also in real estate. So there was, and this was a time when the stock market was doing really well, and it made sense. Let's try to have a better revenue stream for this fund that's helping to pay the retirement salary, really, for public school teachers.
The 1980s saw California assume greater responsibility as a global influence on social and environmental issues. California introduced the Smog Check program, which set new standards for controlling vehicle emissions and also mandated seat belts for all drivers and passengers. The HIV/AIDS epidemic was first clinically observed by medical professionals in San Francisco. To protest apartheid, California state funds sold $11 billion in investments in companies that did business in South Africa. During the 1980s, CalSTRS also assumed greater responsibility by adopting a more comprehensive investment strategy.
In 1982, the legislature decided that the CalSTRS portfolio should have its own investment staff, and it separated us from PERS and moved us independent. They hired their first chief investment officer and very quickly moved the entire portfolio out to external managers. So unlike most plans that were started internally, we were a plan that was started with external management.
CalSTRS also developed a 3-year management plan to maximize its rate of return while maintaining prudent investment practices. There was also a shift to stocks, making domestic equities the largest asset category in the portfolio. This strategic move paid off handsomely during a period of time in which stocks had one of the highest rates of return in market history.
In 1987, CalSTRS expanded into real estate for the first time. It purchased the headquarter building on Folsom Boulevard as its first initial real estate investment. And from there it grew into core real estate across the United States. In the late 80s, CalSTRS also started to invest in private equity for the first time. And so by the end of the 80s, the portfolio was very broadly diversified into a number of asset classes.
In 1988, the CalSTRS investment portfolio was valued at $30 billion. The 1990s brought the birth of the World Wide Web, and California exploded with entrepreneurial vigor to leverage this new global information network. Google was born and launched by 2 students from Stanford University. The California Fuel Cell Partnership, a public-private venture to demonstrate fuel cell vehicles, formally began. CalSTRS entered the 90s, recognizing the growing global makeup of the investment universe in its efforts to produce higher returns in the emerging global economy.
By the end of the decade, CalSTRS had exceeded $100 billion, and even more importantly, for the first time in its entire history, it became fully funded.
The portfolio had achieved a remarkable level of growth by adding $70 billion in value over the course of the decade. The 2000s proved to be extremely challenging for the country, California, and CalSTRS. The decade was marked by the 9/11 attacks and recession at the beginning, and a financial collapse at the end. From 2000 to early 2003, U.S. stocks dropped 45% in value. However, as a result of broad diversification, CalSTRS' portfolio only declined about half of that amount. In 2002, investment staff aggressively rebalanced the fund's asset allocation, investing more than $1.6 billion at near-market lows. By the end of 2003, the portfolio had rebounded to over $100 billion in assets. In response to the market volatility, CalSTRS adopted a more aggressive stance in corporate governance and activism. Working with other funds, CalSTRS advocated significant changes at the Securities and Exchange Commission, the New York Stock Exchange, and in corporate boardrooms. Recognizing the growing importance of better understanding long-term risks to the investment portfolio, CalSTRS became one of the first U.S. pension funds to be a signatory to the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment.
During the decade, the investment staff worked tirelessly to help rebuild the portfolio. And in fact, in 2007, we posted a 21% return, which placed us in the top 1% of all U.S.-based pension plans. And the portfolio closed at a high value of $175 billion. But then we encountered the financial meltdown of 2008.
In September 2008, the financial world changed. Global financial stocks began a free fall in price, and in just 55 days, the U.S. stock market dropped 42% in value. While not as dramatic, the CalSTRS portfolio also experienced a significant decline. However, by the end of 2010, the U.S. stock market had significantly rebounded from the low of March 2009. The CalSTRS portfolio had been repositioned in anticipation of a change, and the fund grew to more than $140 billion in assets. This momentum made CalSTRS the largest educator-only retirement fund in the world.
When I hear CalSTRS, I think of long-term security. I think that my retirement will be taken care of, that I am in good hands.
CalSTRS is a part of being a teacher, is that a certain percentage of your income goes towards your retirement benefits.
When I finally do retire, I plan to write and travel, and my CalSTRS benefit, coupled with other savings plans I have in place, will be the cornerstone of that retirement.
And we're so, so thankful to CalSTRS that there is something there for us to take care of us.
In 100 years of service to California's educators, CalSTRS has never missed a payment, even during the Great Depression. It's this solid commitment that generations of educators have come to depend upon. Today's challenges offer us opportunities to respond to changes in everything from our climate to evolving business practices and new technologies. CalSTRS is developing ways to meet the funding needs of the system, balanced with responsible investments. Strength in long-term value creation, promoted through environmental stewardship, diversity, and recognition of human rights always guides our efforts. CalSTRS was founded upon the principle that hard-earned retirement benefits recognize decades of classroom service. This principle has remained a constant throughout our history and sustains our business model, both now and for generations to come.
Wow.
That's how I felt too. I don't know about you, but I had goosebumps when I first saw it. And each time actually I do.
Now that'll be up on the website?
Yes, it's
Have we
up right now.
Put it
They
out
just-
into YouTube and everything else?
Yep.
Right on.
They've probably done that as I was speaking earlier, and once they hit play, I think they put on the website. So
Super, that's
yeah.
great. And thank you for everybody upstairs at just brought that to us, so thank you very much.
Sure. And as you noticed, we had Rebecca Milwaukee. She's the she's out of Burbank, but she's the 2012 U.S. National Teacher of the Year.
Fabulous.
And we actually, while we did the video of her, we actually did some photographs as well. So we'll be using her in some of our publications. And while we were there, we took the opportunity to schedule other teachers in the schools in the Los Angeles area so that we could take advantage of the trip and having actual teachers on the covers of our publication. So we're excited about that.
That's great. That's great.
Good. Any other questions?
We're creating our own stock footage. I like that.
That's exactly right.
I like that.
Great. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
I think we have also Joe Dion and CalRTA wanted to come up. For those that are newer to the board, every year CalRTA kind of presents a check, which you'll hear about in just a minute.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Dion. I'm the president of California Retired Teachers Association. We have, your 100 years, we've been around 84 years of that 100 years. We started in 1929 with that little teacher from Pasadena, California, Laura Settle. And she's the one, I think, that got us from $500 to $600. But in those days, she was told to go home and not meddle in retirement benefits. And that was an all-male legislature in that. Anyway, we have a check here to present you today. I want to get it right this year. It's $62,327,529 worth of volunteer hours. We have a lot of teachers that volunteer in a lot of things. They involved in working in schools. They work in the community. Many of us are on school boards, city councils, water boards, park boards, and all that kind of nonsense that we get into and when we retire. One of the things that you have to understand, this only represents 15% of our membership. That's not 100% of our, only 15%. It's hard to get retired teachers to do things sometimes. So anyway, these are all volunteer hours. We do this annually. I want to point out that once a teacher, always a teacher. Teachers never quit. They keep on going all the time. And I'd like to quote a person, Hugh Hauser, and I think if he was here today, he would say, retired teachers are truly California gold. Thank you.
I like that. Thank you for
Great.
your continued support and the support of California's kids.
Also, if I could, I just wanted to welcome Ana Mato Santos, our State Director of Finance. So welcome, Ana. She's going to be with us today and tomorrow, and you picked a perfect time to hear the actuarial piece coming up. So.
The video.
Yes.
Alrighty.